Hi everybody, my name is Alyssa Stevenson. I am a violin teacher that is based out of London, Ontario. And today I'm going to be doing a little video on how to tune your violins. It's a play along video, so I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to actually tune while I'm tuning and listen to what my violin is doing. So we're going to talk a little bit about how to tune in 3 levels. So for beginners who maybe are not using their bow yet or are not comfortable tuning with their violin up, we're going to talk a little bit about intermediate students who will be using their bow and their violin in the playing position to tune, and we'll talk a little bit about what to do for advanced musicians who do not have full fine tuners across the strings. That will also apply a little bit to the beginners and the intermediates if you have a really big movement and you need to learn how to use your pegs. Okay? So today what we're going to be doing is starting off with some sort of tuner. So those of you who are out there who have a box tuner, it's a little black box or a silver box or something like that, you can purchase them online at a music store website and have them shipped to you. You can use one of those, or you can use your phone or an iPad, or you can even use your laptop. So there are a lot of apps out there that are completely free and will help you tune. There are also some that you need to pay for. So the one that I have on my phone is a paid one. It's called ClearTune, and I would recommend it to any advanced musician out there or professional. However, most of you probably don't need something that strong. So ClearTune has a lot of extra features in it that are really great if you're doing really, really detailed intonation work. But for those of you who just want to get your violin in tune and enjoy playing, you can go for one of the free options out there. I did a quick search and I found something called Piano Tuner. It was just a couple of apps down. I'm not even sure what it was in the order, but what I was looking for was something that had a dial. So even if you have a box tuner, you want to be looking for something that has a dial on it that's going to show you when you're going to be in tune, or something that has something that lights up when you're in tune. So maybe you're going to play your A string and you're going to wait and it's going to go red on the left or red on the right to show if you're too low on the left or too high on the right. And then right in the center, it pops up green if you're in tune. Well, the dial tuners work like that as well. This is Piano Tuner, P-A-N-O tuner. And I'm going to get a little closer to show you what it looks like. And as you can see, there's a dial spinning on there. And if I get in tune, which I won't with my voice, but I will with my violin, when I get in tune, it's going to show up green. And it's going to show the letter of the note that I'm playing. So for those of you who are beginners, you probably already know that we have 4 strings on the violin, and they are A, D, G, and E. So when you put your violin up to play, the highest string, the one that's closest to your bow hand, is your E string. Then you go down to the A, which is our tuning note, D, and then G. Now, when you first do that, your violin might not be in tune, just like mine. So that's why we need to get that in tune before we start practicing. So our A string is the one we start with because that's what the orchestra tunes to. And we're going to assume that all of your tuners are set to 440 hertz. 440 is the number that will probably show up on your tuner. If it doesn't, make sure that that's what it's set to. For those of you who are advanced and are working in different tuning systems, you probably will already have figured out how to do that and how to tune to that. So I have the Piano Tuner is automatically set so that it'll show the hertz, and we're going to go with 440 hertz. It might be that if you work with a piano player that your violin would be tuned to your piano, whether it's 441 or in some cases 443, which is a bit high, but we're going to tune straight to 440. So for a beginner, you're going to want to probably tune without your bow to start. And then you can check it with your bow at the end if you're advanced enough that you're using the bow. So you would have your violin on your lap facing you so that you can pluck the string and turn the tuners without dropping it. If you're worried you're going to drop it, do it on a couch or a bed or something like that, just to make sure that the violin doesn't hit the ground, because that's not going to help the tuning very much if it falls. We don't want to do that. So my violin doesn't have a fine tuner on anything except the E. So I'm first going to demonstrate with the E, and then we'll do the play along portion where we'll tune together. So for the fine tuners, if you move clockwise, so that's clockwise, where you watch the clock and it goes around to the right, or we're going to turn counterclockwise, which is the opposite way to which the clock turns, where the hands go to the left. If you're doing that, it follows the same rules as any screw. If you guys have ever built something before, you probably know the phrase righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. And that's true the same way for violin. When you turn it clockwise or you turn it to the right, we're making the string tighter. We're making the screw tighter, which is the fine tuner. And the pitch is going to go up. If you are turning it counterclockwise or turning it to the left, we are making it looser, lefty-loosey, and we're actually making the string lower in pitch. The fine tuners don't make big changes. So if you're a beginner or an intermediate student and you find that you've run out of room, you're turning it to the left and all of a sudden the fine tuner comes out, don't do that. Or if you're turning it to the right and it stops and you can't turn it anymore, nothing's happening, nothing's changing, you're gonna have to go to your pegs and kind of reset, all right? So I might do that in another video, so stay tuned for that. But today we're just gonna assume that your fine tuners are set well and we're gonna be able to use them to tune. So I'm going to show you what it sounds like when I tune my E up and when I tune my E down. And I'm going to do it with the bow. So I put the violin up into playing position and I'm going to bring my left hand around. Now, if you are not comfortable enough to hold the violin with just your head, it's a good idea to do it down on your lap. And that's no big deal. You'll get stronger. And as you work on your technique, you'll get a better posture and be able to do that. I also have a handy dandy shoulder rest to help me with that as well. So up in playing position, I bring my left hand around so that I can grab the fine tuner so that I can hear it while I play. So I'm going to play the E string, and the first thing I'm going to do is go up. And if I want the pitch to go up, what am I going to do? Righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. So righty-tighty is going to push it up. So this is what it would sound like. And I'm going to bring it back down. So I'm going to go lefty-loosey. And then I've brought it back up again. So we don't want to make big changes with that fine tuner. We want to make small changes, fine changes, all right? If you have big changes to make, you're probably better off using your pegs, okay? We don't want to be twisting for 1,000 years to get that in tune. So we're going to start off with our A string. Now, for those of you who are beginners or intermediates and are using the fine tuners, go ahead and do that. Because I don't have mine, I'm going to switch over to a more advanced method, which is using your pegs. So for using your pegs, we want to make sure that if we want it to go up in pitch or down in pitch, we follow the same rules. So if your violin is on your lap, I'm going to turn so that you can see just like I can. So if the violin is on your lap and you're looking at the tuners, the righty is this way. It's pushing it this way, which is going to make it go up. Lefty-loosey is pushing it that way, and it's going to make it come down in pitch. If you're on this side and you're looking at the G string and the D string, that's no longer true, okay? So the pegs don't actually follow the same rules as the fine tuners do on both sides. So the faster or easier way to do it is to turn them away from your body to get tighter, or to turn them towards your body to get lower. So what that would sound like is this. So I'm going to pluck since my violin is in the down position. I'll show you what to do when you're using them in the up position. But for beginners and intermediates who are doing this, you're going to pluck your string so you can hear where the pitch is. You're going to decide if it has to go up or down. And this is what it sounds like when it goes up. And this is what it sounds like when it goes down and I turn it towards myself. Good. And your strings, or pegs, sorry, might be a little bit sticky. So what I mean by sticky is if you go to turn them and it feels like it's a little stuck. So there's something you can do to fix that. An easy fix is to pull the string towards you to take the tension off. So if you pull it towards you, the string's getting looser, it's under less tension, and the peg is going to be more likely to then turn up better the way that you want it to. If it is so stuck that you cannot move it in either direction, don't try and call your teacher. If your teacher is me, there are ways that we can do contactless tuning and repairs. I'm sure that your teachers may be able to do something similar. If not, you probably have a luthier in town who will be able to fix your violin for you. So make sure that you make some calls, because if you break your violin, that's a way bigger problem than just stuck pegs, okay? So this is how you do it in the down position. You push away or you pull towards. In the up position, it's a little tricky to get the balance. So you're going to put your violin up, and this is for mostly advanced players. You're going to have your pegs, and hopefully your pegs are positioned so that you can get your hand around it. If they're at a funny angle, it might be a little bit harder for you, so maybe you'll want to bring it down. But for me, my pegs are in a pretty good position, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with the bow, and I'm going to turn my pegs while I'm playing. So my A is still really flat. I'm going to go over to my tuner, and I'm going to actually watch it come into tune. So I'm going to be looking for it to turn green, and so you're going to see the dial change. And what I might do actually is bring it a little closer so that you can see it as well. Probably the best way to do that is to bring the iPad closer. So we're going to raise this, and we're going to bring it over so that you can see the tuner set up. Hopefully that is good. Can you see? Yes, it looks like you'll be able to see the dial spinning. So you might not be able to see the actual letters, but right now it's sitting just below the A, and you can see that the bar is red. That means that I am not in tune. Now the bar is on the right hand side, means I need to go up in pitch to get it more in tune. Now I've got the bar to go green. If you're a beginner, that might be okay, but it's still a little low for me. I still want it to go up a little bit. So for advanced players, what you want to do to make little fine changes without a fine tuner is actually to push or pull your string. If you go above the nut and you push the string up, you're going to make it go a little bit sharp. Now, that's not a perfect way to tune, so you really do want to get your pegs close, but as you can hear, mine are a little sticky, so I've got to go up and down, which I will fix later. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to push up on the string to make it go a little bit sharper. If I want to make it looser, I'm going to pull on the string as if I'm plucking, but way stronger. So right now, I'm going to listen to it again and watch the tuner, and I'm going to give it a little push, which will look like that. I don't know if you can see that. And now my violin is in tune on the A. Then I'm going to quickly tune my D string. So you guys head over to your D string. Hopefully your A is in tune by now. If not, pause the video and then head over to the D. So again, my D is just a little bit flat. It turned green, so I'm in the ballpark, but I have to have it go a little higher. And then I'm going to check them together. And you want to listen for a really nice, perfect fifth. Heading down to the G string now. Once again, if your D is not in tune yet and you need a little bit more time, go ahead and pause that. So right now, my G is in the ballpark, but just a little too high. So I have to bring it down. If you're using your fine tuners, what you're going to do is you're going to go lefty-loosey to bring it down. If you're using your pegs, you're going to pull it towards your body. For me, I have no fine tuners and I'm quite close. You could hear with the pegs I went ring to get it as close as I could. What I'm going to do now is use that trick that I was teaching you before, where you can pull your string to get it to go a little lower. So right now I'm using two of my fingers because I want it to be nice and strong. Doesn't really matter how you do it. But I'm going to put my fingers over the string and I'm going to give it a good tug. And you could hear it go, just like on a guitar, you could bend the notes by pulling the string. So what we're doing is we're pulling it, but we're actually also making it flatter. So now you can hear my G is in tune. Now lastly, I'm going to go up to the E. And for this, I'm going to reset the camera and the iPad so that I can show you how to use the fine tuners, because that's one that I have. So I have a fine tuner for my E string, like most professionals do. And so that fine tuner is just like what you're going to do as a beginner or an intermediate with all of your strings. And I'll show you both ways to do it, in the knee position or up in the playing position. So on my knee, I'm going to listen to the E string and I'm going to watch my tuner, or if you're using your ears at this point, you can go from A to E and listen for that fifth. So to my ear, it sounds just a little low, and I'm going to check with the tuner. It's down just a little bit, teeniest, tiniest bit. You might not have even heard it, and that's okay. So that's why we check with the tuners. Pop quiz time. So I had to make it go sharper. It was too low, so I had to raise it. So which way do I turn it? Am I turning it righty-tighty, or am I turning it lefty-loosey? If you said righty-tighty, you're right on track, so you're definitely getting the hang of it. If I was using my pegs, would I have turned it away from my body or towards my body? If you said away from your body, you're right on track. So whenever we want to make something go higher in pitch, we want to turn it away or righty-tighty, clockwise. If we want to make a pitch go lower, flatter, we want to pull the peg towards our body, or we want to turn it lefty-loosey. Now, when you're practicing these kinds of techniques, make sure that you make small movements to start. So by now you've been tuning each of your strings, and you can probably tell that when you turn it a big amount, we have big changes, especially on the pegs. So be very, very careful. Make sure that you're not turning too far away from your body, because you'll snap your string. That's why, like I mentioned before, if you have to use the pegs, always turn them towards your body first to take the tension off the string. That way you can be sure that it's not suddenly going to shift and then risk snapping it, okay? And once again, if it does snap, that's okay. Call your teacher or call your luthier to fix your violin. Your teacher might be able to help you. If it's me, give me a call. We'll order strings online, and I can either show you how to do it from the safety of your home and my home, or we can call someone and hopefully they'll be able to fix your violin. Either way, where there's a will, there's a way. We'll be able to fix it. So to tune with the fine tuners, once again, you're going to be turning righty or lefty. And this is in the down position. In the up position, the same rules apply. It's still righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, but it looks a little bit different. So you're going to have to get used to the feeling. So if you're playing in the up position, again, you're going to bring your bow to the string and you're going to reach under. It looks a little like I'm doing a yoga move, so I'll do it this way first. So you bring your hand over to the violin so that it's on the fingerboard, and then you can cross your bow over top. So it looks like I'm making an X with my arms. This way I can bow without getting in my way and still be tuning. So and again, I'm listening for that fifth. If you don't know what a perfect fifth is, it's the difference of 5 letter name notes in a way that sounds perfect to the ear. And that's a very simple explanation. There is a more complicated one, but you'll have to take theory lessons to find that one out. So hopefully I've covered everything today to give you a very basic chance to tune. Hopefully your E is in tune by now as well. Make sure that as you do this and as you use this video to help you, pause your video, make sure that you get in tune, and then move on to the next string. So just to end it off, we're going to check our strings together. It's always good to double check at the very end, because if we move our pegs and as we change our fine tuners, our violin can actually go out of tune. This little bridge here is not glued down. It walks around on you, hopefully not too much because that would be very dangerous, but it moves around just a little bit and that can affect the tuning on the other strings. So put your bow to the string again and check those tuners. If you're a beginner, you can put your violin up and pluck. If you are an intermediate or an advanced player and you're using your bows, or if you're a beginner player who's just learning, go ahead and listen to that, but make sure you make a clear sound. If you're not in tune with your bow, so if you're making a scratchy sound or if you're pulling the sound differently, you're not actually going to be able to tune your violin well. So it's very important to always make a beautiful sound when you're tuning. So it should sound something like this. A string. It's in tune. D. And the fifth together, and the G, and the fifth together, and lastly I tune my E. And again, I'll check the fifth together with the A. Now, if if you're tuning a viola or a cello, things will look a little bit different for you. For viola, the same technical things apply, but obviously you have a C string instead of an E string. You're still going to start on the A, and you can work your way down. But instead of jumping up to an E string, which you don't have, you'll still go down to the C. Use your tuner the same way, and listen for the fifth between the C and the G string. Cello, you're tuning in a very similar way to the violin to the viola, with pitches, but your position is obviously very different. So make sure that you ask your teacher how they want you to be doing that. So last couple of things, ideas. Make sure that you remember the same phrase that you would use if you were doing a DIY. For a screw, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, or you can think about the clock face. Clockwise, so going around the clock is how we turn up to the right or make the pitch higher. And if you're going counterclockwise, that's how we turn to the left and we make the pitch lower. If you're using your upper pegs, we want to be looking at the violin and we raise them by turning them away from our body to go higher in pitch to make things sharper, or we turn them towards our body to make the pitch lower or flatter. If you have any issues, make sure you call your teacher. If your teacher is me, you can access via email or online or through Facebook, which is at Alyssa Stevenson Violin. So feel free to look on there for more content, and happy practicing, everybody.